Here we are. We're live. It's the Beta Saasers Autograder meeting, and we've got Sam and Jay and Richard. And here we are. It's been a while for me. Matt is now focused on some other priorities, so we might not see him again here in the near future necessarily. But that's yeah, he'll pop in if and when. I guess maybe start with my updates. There is what we've been doing. We've been getting back to the Agile Dev mob, where we're running through different parts of the course. I think probably Matt already updated you that we did now complete upgrading, or that we upgraded the performance assignments to, what was it? I think Ruby 2.4, Rails 4.2.7, 4.2.10, or whatever the latest one was. And then last week we also did that all on, I think we did it all on Codio. And it all worked there, and that wasn't a problem. Although there are various little sort of tricks about, getting to see the server and this, that, and the other that, I mean, ultimately should be documented if we are really switching fully to Codio, which we're still not sure about. But so having got to the last assignment, we went back to the first assignment. So that's the Ruby intro assignment. And we started looking at more upgrades there and other improvements to the assignment, specifically getting consistent on how we call in the individual RSpec. So we seem to have a mix in there between the kind of doing this RSpec with a line number, where you do RSpec spec, my spec dot RB like 6, and this other one where you can do RSpec. You do the same, but you can call kind of like an example, like say -e, and then the name of the whatever your test is. And yeah, so we sort of switched it all over. There's like one ambiguity there, and there's a potential for doing a PR on the RSpec core that some people are interested in. We'll see. I mean, it's kind of a bit of a corner case. But yeah, so we've been talking about going through the whole rest of the thing. I think what I want to kind of prioritize is like reviewing all the Autograder output, which I think is being consistently poor and needs improving. But of course, then how will it be different if the Autograder all moves to Codio? We're not sure. So we can still say Codio up in the air. I haven't had any more from Mando. I reviewed his revised book chapter where he's trying to sort of like consolidate and make it all kind of code independent. But I haven't heard from him for 10 days, so we will see. That's I guess other things. The MOOC is to wrapping up, and I guess will we have more next year? I don't know.
I didn't know if the MOOC had turned into a song.
Yeah, there's the MOOC rap. That would probably be more exciting, maybe. I have no other word from Mando. Yeah. So yeah, Richard, how are things with you?
Okay, so what I am going to be entering final grades or finalizing grades in the next few minutes and hours. I am curious about next semester in a big way, and in fact, as I mentioned, sort of offline, I have some sort of options for the spring semester that might make me not involved as much with the software engineering. And I don't. It's hardly a factor, but the uncertainty is not a plus.
No,
is a small piece of my decision.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm sort of here for. And what was the other thing? And then just the usual, nothing new enough to call out. Can I just ask on your thing as far as calling the RSpec via line numbers and labels? Was that in the document? Where is that you're talking about making those changes? or having made those changes.
Well, why don't we come back to that once we've just checked in with Jay?
Got it. Okay, that's good. Good. That's fine.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Richard. Jay, yeah, how are things with you?
Well, I finished class last week. This is finals week. I'm not having a final, but they did their project presentations.
Oh, yeah.
And just, kind of for the record, I had 4 faculty in the engineering school act as customers for the projects, and I think that worked out quite well.
Oh, good.
Various other instructors had told me they tried using students as customers, and that didn't work well. And then they tried going outside, and that didn't work well. But this one, I think, did. The faculty were pretty happy with what they got. They had real projects that they wanted done. They knew that they wouldn't get it completely done in half a semester, but they were quite helpful.
Cool.
And half of them have given me their feedback and grade recommendations on that part. And the other 2 I have to track down this week during finals week. I had one question in chapter 12, which is DevOps. There is a performance homework and then a quiz.
Yep.
I didn't assign the performance homework because I didn't get any indication it was upgraded or working, but I did assign the quiz.
Right.
And the quiz says you can submit as many times as you want. So I assume that I'll eventually find their way to getting 100 on that, but nobody did. And apparently, I guess if you reset a question, you lose some points somehow, but that's not at all clear in the documentation.
Right.
So I still don't understand how the grading on that one works.
Okay.
So I ended up giving them 100 if they tried.
Right. Sure.
And then my other question is kind of, since we are not going to teach this course again until the fall,
right.
Is there a way of preserving or archiving the SPOC in the form that I had it set up? Will it just stay there forever? Or do I have to do something?
It'll stay there for the time being. You can also export it. That's probably a good thing to do. There's an export option in the instructor interface. Yeah, we have done that before for Rose and Richard, is used the template, used the exported one to create the new one. Particularly if you've done a lot of customization. We have the ongoing issue of then how do you integrate that with any updates that we've made? But we're trying as much as possible to make the updates in the GitHub and leave the course alone. So well, off the bat, I don't know how that quiz works. There's how it worked in the MOOC, and then there's are the settings, have they accidentally been tweaked in your particular spot? We could have a look at that together if you had the link to your Spock on the quiz to hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, great to hear that your faculty project's going well.
Yeah. Where is it? The export is in Edge or in Studio?
It is in Studio.
Okay.
Yeah. That's contingent on there being something to import it into, but
right.
Let's not
export into a human readable form.
It's all XML. It's human readable in some broad sense. I guess the question that Richard is adding in the text there is what's happening with Spox for the spring. As far as I know, they continue to exist. I have some other people still asking me for Spox. I haven't had anybody from edX tell me that we can't have more Spox. I think they want, allegedly, there is some movement afoot to make it so that, what is it, that basically there will be the fabled,
customizable MOOC.
Right. But I'll believe it when I see it. You know, it's
Well, the problem is if they decide that that's the wave of the future and that's all they provide, then the first people will be the debuggers and
Right.
beta testers, which is tough in the middle of a large course.
Absolutely.
But that's what I was concerned. So I am correct, right? There was a move. They were saying, oh, by the end of the year, Spox will be gone and we'll be transitioning to a new thing. But basically, no one is worried about that because we haven't heard.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they were ever saying, "Oh, we'll be transitioning." I mean, I think they were saying we would like to make this thing available, and I'm like, "Fantastic! Come back to me when it is available, and then we'll have a discussion." Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I mean,
I remember something stronger, but that's fine. I'm happy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, Armando is teaching the course again. Like he's back. He's after his sabbatical. He's back in the US and teaching, as I understand it, the course. And I mean, I think in some ways the thing that I kind of bank on is that Armando has a lot of sway and bangs heads together. So he will be using this. As far as I know, he'll be using the Spock for the spring for his course. So I wouldn't be too worried about. I wouldn't. I mean, you never know. I mean, edX, but like, I wouldn't be too worried about the Spocks disappearing. I guess what would I be more worried about? I mean, I'd be more worried about the usual just lack of clarity about Codio. I mean, I think we're in the situation where that it's sort of, Armando may still do stuff, or maybe doing stuff, and I'm just slightly out of the loop. I mean, the question is okay, so if we go to Codio, great, but then like all of the documentation for the assignments needs to be updated to like mention all the little tricky bits that you can get stuck in Codio, and then there's I mean, to me, the Codio autograding thing just feels like, well, that's just like much further off. And the frustrating thing for us is that Codio doesn't really have any good terminal sharing functionality in the way that Cloud9 has. So yeah. That's I feel you in terms of the what is it, like the up in the airiness about Codio. I think particularly from your point of view is like, if like are they going to charge us for it to carry on using it? Is it going to expire my existing account that I'm going to have to reset up all over again? And the question marks over that just mean, kind of, it would be nice to be hearing, oh yes, Spock users will get Codio free for the next 5 years. Kind of, if that was the thing being asserted, then I think we do all be slightly more relaxed.
Yeah, and I just look back. I mean, we may have talked about the timing of this, but I don't have documentation other than he said, Armando said the bigger issue is Edge is being phased out altogether as a way of doing Spox. Instead, there'll be exactly one MOOC, but I don't see the date, as much of a date as I always
I think that's where edX wants to go.
Yeah.
But like, I don't.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yep. Cool.
Good.
So yeah, I've got your Spock here, Jay. Yeah. And so probably you found the under tools.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And then so we can go and have a little look and try and have a look at that. Where is it gone? Final quiz. No, final quiz. Midterm quiz. Oh, forget those. Where's it gone? Wrap up. Final week. Performance homework. This is the one that's got then the quiz in it. So that's the part 2 quiz there. And yeah, I wouldn't imagine people losing. We've basically got 3 questions there,
right?
With a third of the points each, and so the settings. No, not there.
And I got a lot of students who got 50 on it.
Right. And let's have a look in here. So we've got maximum attempts. So like for the individual question there, maximum attempts, infinite attempts allowed, problem weight 33, show answer closed. That all looked perfectly normal. There we go. Yeah, 33. That one there. Third question, settings there, given 34. So that all looks fine. I mean, I guess that the place where it might be weird, where would it be? It would be in the grading. And then we want to look at how the, so what have we got? Midterm homework 5? Yeah. I don't know. It's maybe not connected up in this grading section. I mean, you're probably not using the progress portion.
No, I'm not. Is it supposed to be in there somewhere?
I mean, I'm just thinking about ways in which students would end up with, you know, odd quiz levels in here. I mean, I guess let me have a look. I mean, I'll probably get it wrong. Which design pattern is used to invalidate a cached page after the underlying data strategy has changed? I guess that would be observer. And then what technique allows fragment caching to prevent active record from ever contributing fragment caching? It doesn't seem to have. There we go. Different levels of caching in your web application. Okay, assuming that nobody else is using the computer, this probably would stem from a stale. I probably put that as a page cache, but I guess this is the deadline has maybe passed.
Yeah.
And so I can't submit that. Yeah.
I can change the deadline on it.
Yeah. Or I can do that for you.
Okay.
Not for here. That's not. I guess it's so annoying that the you have to like, gosh, you have to step up another level in order to do it. And while I'm trying to find that, Richard, you mentioned also like performance profiler. You were
yes. That's just a high level comment. I have for a long time I have not dealt with the performance sort of section, chapter, topic.
Right.
How much is do they talk about using a profiler and the importance and et cetera?
I don't know. I don't know that that's covered, to be honest.
Okay. The only reason, and this is just just a few sentences. My friend who was in early on in Netscape and was at Google and did some cool stuff and is now like this one of the the top level engineering at Amazon.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he comes in, he's a high school buddy, and he comes in and talks to my class. And he reminded me, this is a topic that I used to cover of like, when you're trying to speed, improve performance, not to go with your gut feeling. You really need to go with data, because your gut feeling is usually wrong.
Yeah,
and he also reminded me that because when I was teaching Python and looking around for that, he wrote the Python profiler. So it seemed to me, it's something that I sort of have forgotten to mention. And it seems to me it's like a really good kind of topic to mention. And I'm just meant to look to see where and how that kind of thing was covered in the in our course.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the oh really, I'm getting this wrong. Let's reset, and then okay, and then really, I would have thought it was a page cache. You reckon it's an action cache? Oh, we've got multiple selects, all that apply. Or could it be all three of those? Yeah, so I mean that's absolutely true. I mean, I think that's a very important part of performance. Is oh gosh, this is one of those ones where it's like, oh gosh, it's like like the number of combinations when you've got 4 of these. Oh, there we go. Right. So
You're smart.
I sort of knew that. Might have even done it before in the past. I mean, the interesting thing, and then when you were looking for where they got the grades,
yeah, and the grade
it'll be in the grade book, I guess.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. I was not even seeing progress.
Instructor.
There's an option there. I mean, I guess you have to go back to instructor. I'm sorry, that instructor, isn't it there? Yeah. I mean, conceivably that would be because, I mean, the grade book that you have in here is usually a function of what's in the progress. Like what's marked in the grading section here. So I think it would kind of need to be connected in here. Like, I mean, did you use the midterm?
I did.
Okay, yeah. And we've got homework 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
I mean, I think for it to show up correctly in the
You just got
gradebook.
50 on that quiz.
Say again. I've got.
I just checked the grade book, and you got a 50 on that quiz.
Right. And that's odd. Yeah, I would sort of expect that to be like maybe because it's not connected up properly in here. Yeah, there's definitely something odd going on there that maybe bears further investigation offline, possibly. I guess just dashing back, I tried to start the Kindle in the background. So, I mean, what you were saying there, Richard, it's like Kindle is not optimized for your Mac. Okay, it needs to be updated by its developer to improve compatibility. I guess I have to like update. This was me trying to get, oh gosh, to get up the chapter on performance. You are absolutely right that the most important thing is measuring, but I think that very much like profiling as a sorry, when you were using the term, was making me think of where you kind of get like a system into like check how many objects are being created and all that sort of stuff, like using something called like a profiler. The approach that which I don't think we get into in that chapter. We do get into is saying you must measure, and so the whole performance assignment is about doing a benchmark and saying, right, if we end up creating 5,000 models, how long does the query take? Given the amount of this stuff in the database and so on and so forth, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, the sort of the high level comment is that oftentimes when we have experience, the seasoned pros, our gut feel about things are like good. And this is one area that like the seasoned pro should know that he should not, use his judgment, and that there's almost always our judgment, I mean, at least in my experience, and is not correct. It's like, oh, there's this little thing that we, that's taking up like a big bulk of the time. That's like totally unexpected.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The investigation. We actually just fixed on the website one, our main website for Adventures, the events page performance is now, which is something we've been working on for a long time, and we've been very, always using very carefully measuring it. But even when we end up implementing a whole caching system because we couldn't quite get to the bottom of it, but then somebody else who took another angle found like another part, like of a subquery that was taking up the time, and they've now got it working, super fast. So yeah,
right. And in theory, if you'd been able to sort of profile and measure that would have just come out like, right from the start.
If we could have,
in theory,
I mean, we were measuring it and we were seeing this takes a really long time, and we've broken it down into, and it was clear that the problem was not on the database itself, and that it was clear that it was, an interaction between the database and the page views, but it's in the granularity. Like if you've got really broken down to the right level of granularity, then things will. But then it's also about having the same sort of data, because it was also a problem that was only occurring with certain data that occurred on the production system that people didn't have in their, development. So, yeah, I'm just looking. I've got my actual, slightly older copy, a physical copy of the. Oh, it has actually. It's actually open there now after much protesting. The thing I was going to say, like in this chapter on performance, not really on performance. It's on like lots of different things, like the releases, monitoring, finding bottlenecks. It's got, I think there's all lots of good advice of that sort in here. Monitoring, finding bottlenecks, and so on. Anyway, yeah.
I mean, I was assuming it was there. It was just like, sort of laziness, just because it popped into my head that I just wanted to mention.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, and I think, I wish you could get people to focus on that rather than like running around and going crazy about React and Vue and all of these other newfangled things. We're excited to work on. Just getting, to me, getting the systems running efficiently is half the battle. So I'm just thinking, can I work out why this gradebook thing is? I mean, I guess I can't do that without looking at the gradebook myself. I guess I just, I'm not wanting to share any of Jenny's student information in there. Seems to be somebody's phone. Maybe, Richard, gonna have to take a call. let's have a look. So yeah, so you went to the data download, did you? And got
I just went to the grade book.
Is that, do you want to go generate grade report? Is that the one?
No, it's tell you in a moment. Under student admin, the first entry is view gradebook.
Oh, okay, yep. Right, okay. Yes, I often haven't used that one. Let's also generate a grade report as well. That's the one I usually end up using. Okay, there we go. Right. And so, right, you're seeing that as quiz 8.
Yes.
Right. Interesting. Interesting. Yes. So we've got, right, so I can see that there. That's interesting. All right. Let's bring back in. Yes. So that's the course. So we've got the, I mean, I wonder if that's given 50 because for this assignment, it's splitting the, like there's like 50 on the quiz and 50 on this part 1. Would be my guess here. I mean, this one, what have we got here? Visibility, advanced, no. I mean, I sort of like, I have a, like, these are both, this performance homework part 1 and part 2 are like both parts of, you know, they're kind of being graded within this. Within the part 2 quiz, we were seeing how it's being split into 3 separate elements. If we go and look at this one, this has no particular problem weight, and so but so that would be, I think, the kind of thing that one would control in the grading section, where what was this thing here? It's got something how much? 2, 3, 5, because none of the quizzes are mentioned in there. Oh no, like each of the quiz. Right, and we've got 8 quizzes, so quizzes 1 to 8. And then the percentage of the 20. Okay, so yeah, that quiz is going to correspond in there. Yeah, I don't know. It's that's odd. So I think you've managed it in the right way. That the 50 is obviously indicative of a.
Yeah, it comes up as quiz 8 in the grade book.
Yeah. Yeah.
The grades that I see in there are 50, 34, and 16. So
Right, which I think would correspond to people getting 1, 2, and 3 right.
That doesn't quite make sense, but
well, more or less, it's like 16, 34. Well, they're almost thirds, but not quite. Yeah, I agree. It doesn't make wonderful sense. There used to be. Oh, here you go. I mean, this is right. We've got the option. It's grade as quiz. But where's that now? That's set. But so yeah, I think what it is that the grade as quiz is set here on the like entire thing here, because like this just doesn't do it. I think if we look at how the other we've got quiz 7 there. I mean, the other quizzes also appear. I mean, what it might be. No, what is that? Hold on. Got legacy homework 1. That's not interesting, right?
I didn't assign that.
No. But so and you didn't assign the performance assignment,
Right?
And that's this one here. But it's interesting. We've got a very different, like this performance homework here. It's not giving us the option. It's not giving us the option to even mark it as a sign. So I mean, I'd say that's probably kind of an edX level bug, like in the context in which you've got a sort of a hidden assignment in there is having an impact on this. So that might be something to report to edX. But again, then what happens in the Spock is different from what happens in the MOOC. We could also go and have a look at how it goes in the MOOC. I'm also thinking that I wonder if the grade book is going to be different from the grade report. Obviously, the grade book there is sort of simpler to look at. I'm just going to pull up the grade report for the TA course that we use. The let's see that I don't use the grade book. Let's look. Quiz 8. No, it's giving the same in there. It's like 0.5s, 0.33, 0.34, 0.16. Yeah, same thing. Problem there.
We're not seeing what you're looking at now.
No, that's I had student names in it and so on. But
okay.
but it was you know, there was, I was just confirming it was doing exactly. So I mean, that seems like it's a problem there on kind of a fairly fundamental level. I was just going to go into. I don't want to be here. Do I want to be there? Studio. I want to go into the main MOOC and see what the settings were for that. Oh, grab that. But then, so I think I don't know if you're still on the phone, Richard. Is that's everything for you then? Is it?
Still muted.
Yeah, I guess he's on the phone.
Oh, is it me? Oh, no. I wasn't sure whom you were talking to. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I was just I was just going off to my grades too, because that's
yeah. Well, yeah, I guess we've covered all of your stuff, and I mean, you know, as
right. So the only thing that's heartwarming is that Armando is teaching in the spring.
Yeah.
So that means that things are likely to get addressed. The only problem with that is, I guess, is that he's like, they're a little bit behind us. So, but I've always can deal with that. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so I mean, I guess other things being equal, would you? It sounds like Jay, you won't need a Spock for the spring because you're not teaching until the fall, and but Richard, you would like a Spock for the spring in the first instance. I mean, given that you may be less involved in, but we should sort of create it, and then if you use it, use it. If you don't, you don't.
Right.
All right.
Right. And then right.
Good.
Okay. And plans. I mean, we'll communicate on the, if not Slack, the email if anything changes.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I guess so. Let's look at let's get the dates for the course. When does your course start, Richard?
If you pop into January, I'll look at your calendar. It's probably like around the 10th, I'd say.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the
9th or 10th.
This isn't having my stuff in it. This is just you'll see my. You don't want to see my real calendar because it's scary. To 10th of January. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, it's the second week.
Yeah. So we could have a. I mean, I'm going to be off like next week and then be coming back in here. But so other things being equal, like on Monday the 7th, we could have a meeting like this one. Kind of.
Yeah, and just as an aside, if things don't change, I will be at an all-day sort of retreat that day, which maybe I'll try and pop out for.
Okay, all right, no worries. Well, I'll try and make sure that the Spocks are created before Christmas. I'd like them to be up and available, so it's not being all done at the last minute.
Good. And obviously, if there's any real news, let's hear. Let's
hear.
Yeah,
no, I'll let you know as soon as it comes. Do you, Richard? Do you want a clone of your existing one, or you'd like? I don't think there's been any. I mean, the only thing.
Yeah, I would say the clone.
Yeah, clone of the existing one. All right.
Yeah. And that was my comment to Jay about the export is that you remember there was that import bug where we couldn't import. So it's like just because you have a saved export doesn't necessarily
always doesn't guarantee. There are no guarantees.
Okay. I'll save it on a floppy disk.
Yeah. Good show.
8-inch.
Well, yeah, and you can always. I mean, it is open source, so you can always roll your own instance of. You know,
As long as it's in some readable fashion.
Oh yeah. I mean, you'll have a record.
Okay.
Absolutely. The trick is sometimes I think that the Rose is going to sometimes like for I forget the word, whatever it would be when you're being reviewed or audited or what have you, and you need to give like an example of an assignment submitted by, you know, an able student, an average student, and a less able student. The export of the edX will not export any of the students. You get the grade reports, and I think the export of the course will just export the course contents. The student grades, that's separate, and the students, what they've actually, the code that they've submitted is not stored on edX servers, so you won't get that when you export it. And that's sort of stored in the Autograder and can be pulled down at some, you know, painful thing. However, hopefully if you've been using Codio or whatever have you, you've got access to that anyway. So not
and I mostly don't care.
No, fair enough. And yeah, I can't immediately. I'm having to reset my password to the MOOC. I'll have another little look at the that quiz thing, but I think it is likely to be an edX bug. So yeah, apologies for that.
I'm just reporting it.
Yes, you sure
doesn't
are.
matter to me right now.
Yeah, no, you've worked it around. You worked around it. Great stuff. All right. Good. Well, have a very happy holidays if I don't see you before. And otherwise, I'll see you in the new year.
Thank you so much.
Bye for
Thanks
now.
a lot.
Feel better. You had a cold?
I did love this, but I'm a lot better now. Oh gosh, it's
okay.
It's so nice. So fingers crossed, no more colds for a while.
Take care.
See you guys. Bye for now. Cheers.